All right. Hello, everyone. This is Coach Mo here for another Coach Mo Live, and we are rocking with Portia Ingram, one of my awesome coaches on my team, Coach Mo kick-ass team, where we're always rocking our ladies in our 12-week kick-ass workshop. And it's really, as you know, Portia, not about the workshop. It's really about women getting a solution to two of the biggest problems in life. Number one, I don't feel great inside. Number two, I'm not doing what I should be doing on this earth to the level that it is, and my pocketbook's showing the difference. So what we do for 12 weeks is take women through a transformational journey. And today we are celebrating
Yes.
our historical situation with this country, and that is reflecting on Black History Month. And you know, Portia, especially over the last year, when this has been a front and center topic, that we have taken the stage on this in an effort to really help rally the Black women who have careers that are just not performing. And obviously, the challenges Black women face are multiplied, are absolutely multiplied. So when you're on my team now, we've just celebrated a 1-year anniversary.
We did.
Being
Absolutely.
on the team, and you have just kept bringing your A game to coach our clients and helping them achieve things they never thought that they could achieve by bringing their soul back to life and giving them rock solid strategies on how to do the right things in the external world so that a bright, shiny soul can execute something better out there. And we're having a lot of fun doing it. We first met because you were one of the clients in the workshop.
I was.
Tell us a little bit about your situation. And I know you want to talk a little bit about the environment, the conditions that still exist for Black professional women. So hit on those topics, and let's just have you dive into those issues for us.
Yeah. Absolutely. So a little bit about my journey. I have about 20 plus years in human resources. 14 of those years was with one organization. And I was getting toward the end of my journey there and knew that I wanted to do something different, but I didn't know what that was. The organization was going through a shift, a change, and I knew that there was going to be some type of elimination possibly of my job. It was a lot of uncertainty. And at the same time, it just felt like internally, emotionally, I was under a lot of stress because of all the uncertainty and didn't know how to get myself out. So I felt stuck. In reaching out to try to figure out, okay, how do I fix this? I don't know how to fix this. I need some help. I came across wonderful Coach Mo on Facebook. She popped in and she was speaking my language, and I listened to her, the webinar at the time, and thought, oh, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So I had that clarity call with our wonderful breakthrough strategist. And again, it was just all the right things were just in my ears. Like, this actually exists. I didn't even know it existed. So I was like, sign me up. I'm in. I'm open to receive, because I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
So, went through the 12-week program. Long story short, my soul was just thirsty for something. And I filled that back up, filled up my cup, and realized that I found my passion, which is coaching.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. So when you are not feeling alive inside, there's a whole lot of fear going on. There's uncertainty that provokes more fear, and then there's more uncertainty that provokes more fear. And it does become a cycle that you can't get out of.
Correct.
Because at some point of 3 or 4 of those iterations, you literally can't even see straight. And this is what this wonderful fear response does to our brain. It literally shuts down pieces of our brain. So we are clamped down, and now we're stuck. Now we're likely to make a really bad decision for ourselves, because there's no empowerment that is based in a fear response. we can rise up from fear, gain ourselves back, get our power back, which is what we do, as you know. But good for you that you were open to receive, because isn't that the difference between being stuck and finding a solution?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was at the end where I was like, I can't do this. My brain was going in circles. It was just a
Mhm.
constant trying to figure it out, trying to figure it out. Well, it
Right.
wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I had to get some help, and
Yeah.
I was open to
Yeah.
receive that help.
So let me just ask you a somewhat personal question, Portia. You're married. And as you know, most of our gals are. We haven't done statistics on it lately, but married gals, working mothers, etc. Um, some men would be inclined to say, "Honey, just get a new job. Just
Mm,
get out there and get yourself a new job, because that's what you need." They're action takers. They're go
yeah.
get it, gal. And what perhaps, I'm sure your husband loves you as many as some of the women that we've had, their husbands have loved them deeply. They don't quite get the soul journey and what women have to constitute in themselves in order to go out and get that job.
Correct.
Women process the world differently than men do. And we
Absolutely.
are inclined to have external circumstances dominate us more than men because of how we're built, wired, et cetera, socialized, programmed, etc. And we don't see a lot of examples of other women like us getting it. So it's like, if you can't see where you're headed or what it's all about, you're like handicapped. You're like in the lane of, I don't know what a solution looks like on the other end of this. Talk to me a little bit about how you may have navigated that, or perhaps
Yes.
came through that, or had to advocate for yourself in that situation. Just
Absolutely.
lay it out.
Absolutely.
How was that kind of working through that?
Well, again, my soul was dying. And
Mhm.
so externally, you could see that I was just not in a good space. My husband knew something was wrong, but he didn't know how to fix it. So he
Yeah.
was like, I need you to fix it, right? Or I need to fix it. And I'm like, I don't know how to fix it, right?
Right.
So when I found this program, I literally just told him, I said, listen, I found something that can fix it, and I need your support.
Mhm.
I need you to help me basically stay out of my way so I can focus
Yeah.
on this
Yeah.
one thing for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And he said, well, whatever it takes, whatever it takes. And I said, okay. Well, I made the decision and I signed up. And then I told him how much it was. And he was like,
Uh-huh.
okay. um,
It's gonna work.
and so I said, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like I had to stand in my power because I
Yes.
didn't have any other choice. And he couldn't fix
Right.
it.
No.
He was sweet
Right.
and he wanted to, but he couldn't
Sure.
do it.
No.
Yeah,
Right. Right. And I know that that's could be a hurdle. We almost are at having a majority of women be breadwinners in their homes, which means that
absolutely.
women um, have to take up the responsibility of fixing their career problem, because it impacts not only their futures, obviously family's future, but also it's a new role for women. Actually, since the recession, 12, 13 years ago now, it has shifted the responsibility of household earnings more on women. And we weren't socialized that way. I don't know about you, but even though I've went to college and got a great job and worked my entire career, there was still sort of this like fairy tale thing that played in the background, that someone else was supposed to kind of like do some heavy lifting for me. And that's really strong for a lot of women because of how we're raised and what we expect life to look like. And women grapple with this all the time. It's not the deck of cards that were played when we were born and being raised. And I know, Portia, you and I coach on this all the time.
Yes,
It's an identity thing.
it is.
So, as a Black woman, you actually have another identity on top of all of that. And obviously, no matter what culture we belong to, there's like this cultural stamp on top of what women are supposed to do and how we're supposed to be in this world. Talk about what you
Mm,
felt was going on for you as a Black woman in your career when you were feeling stuck, that played into that equation for you.
yes. It was a lot of not being heard. I felt that I wasn't being appreciated
Hmm.
for the work that I did. I was at
Hmm.
this organization for a while, and I just couldn't get to that next level. Like I was just stagnant at the level for like several years. And I just couldn't get past that quote unquote ceiling.
Yeah.
And again, not feeling like I was appreciated or heard for the contributions that I was doing or was bringing to the table, and not allowing an opportunity for me to have a say, have a seat at the table, so to speak, for things that, make a difference in reviews, my salary, bonuses, things of that nature.
Right. And I have a little saying that I throw out there quite casually because there's a lot of work involved with what I'm about to say. If you don't like the way management's doing it, become management.
Absolutely.
Easier said than done.
Right.
So the punching the card to management, it really looks a lot like your soul coming more to life and you feeling worthy and confident in stepping into that. And there's a lot of layers of why women don't feel worthy or confident. I'm sure as a Black woman, part of your experience was that there weren't a whole lot of people in management that looked like you.
Yes, and that was a consistent conversation. I was also involved in a lot of D&I, diversity and inclusion efforts for the organization. So I saw the ins and outs of what wasn't happening and what we were trying to make happen, which was pushing more African American, female and male, into more leadership positions and roles. So in my tenure at this organization, I was fortunate to seek out those that look like me.
Yeah.
And I was also fortunate for those people to be receptive of helping me and bringing me on and teaching me and mentoring me. Yes. However, there was a point in time where, okay, I'm now at the same level as my mentors and there's nobody senior. So how do I get there? Right. What do I need to do?
Yep.
So I think a lot of African American women find themselves at that space and they're like, how do I get there? Like there's nobody left to help me get there. Yes. What do I need to do?
Right. Sheryl Sandberg wrote a book called Lean In. Maybe it was about a decade ago at this point. And I know she's been very, very active with her foundation, with McKinsey and company, doing research and continuing the ongoing dialogue. Leaning in is great, but if you're not actually in the room to lean in, you're going to have a hard time leaning in because now you're like, your lean is like against the door, trying to get the door open.
Absolutely.
And some of that, as you know, because we do a lot of spiritual, energetic work and the work we do to help our clients advance, is that you have to feel a certain sense of identity that you're allowed in, you are worth being in, you have a special past because you're talented and confident, you have something to say and contribute. And I know that's not the only issue, but it is a big part of walking through that threshold of the right room.
Of believing. Of belonging.
Yes. And then you can execute a strategy on top of that. But as you know, not just the Black women we work with, but most women that we work with are not feeling like they belong either to the next tier or even feeling like their voice matters. But as a Black woman, again, triple down on that. What did you learn in the work we did for the first 12 weeks? And there was a plot twist while you were in the 12 weeks that kind of hurried up your desire to do something different. So
it was
talk a little bit about what was going on there. What did you learn and gain from inside in some of the first weeks that we worked together?
Yes. The 12 weeks were truly life-changing for me internally. I've always been a spiritual person and really connected to my divine, which is God. Yep. And so I had probably didn't even realize that I felt so disconnected from that, from my divinity.
Yeah.
So within those 12 weeks, I learned tools and techniques of how to get connected again, which was like opening the floodgates of joy and love and peace and all of that. And so because of that fueled me from the inside out, which then shows up as confidence.
Yes.
So that energy was like, well, I don't care what happens because I'm good who I am and I can
Yeah.
find my next thing.
Yes.
So in that, I was
The
let
minute I
go.
felt that way.
Right. I was let go of my job and I was tears of joy because I knew that there was more for me,
Yeah.
the next steps. And I was able to walk away with a package that I specifically asked for a certain amount, and I was willing to walk away with that and dive into the area of what I felt in my soul and my heart was what God was leading me to do and calling me to do. So here I am.
That's right. Through being tossed out of a job that was no longer fitting you, making a powerful choice for something next, which you could have very easily gotten another job at another higher level and migrated yourself up there. And hello to Martha and Key and Shira, totally rocking it. What we decide based on being tossed out of a company could look different depending how we feel about ourselves.
Absolutely. Very much so.
And as you know, from working with me for a year or so, I'm not a huge fan on becoming a coach as the answer to your career problems.
Right. Most said, "Are you?"
Yeah.
It's just that I think you're out of your mind. Are you serious? You just jump right into coaching? I'm like, yeah, yeah, because it's been there all along. So it's something that I wouldn't advise everybody to do. However, I was certain
It's a new road. It's a new path rather than
it
building
is.
on what you know. So
It
as
is.
you know, I'm not a come and jump out of your career and become
No.
a coach.
Mm-mm.
I am someone who believes fully in you spent 20 years doing this work. You got all that to leverage out there.
Yeah.
And we don't tell people what to do, as you know. We guide and direct and say, look at this. And you chose that option. And that made sense for you in who you have become, who you were becoming then. And you had to work hard to get your skills to a certain level. And note to the audience, I'm no easy interviewer. So
She's not. She's straight to the point. Can't you tell?
Prove to me that I should hire you. So we had a coaching opening, and it just so happened that we saw each other on one of the grad calls, and it was like we locked eyes or something, like our hearts just like met up, and there seemed to be a good flow with discussing about the opportunity. You were just fresh out of coaching training and finishing up your certifications and that sort of thing. The thing that compelled me, Portia, number one, is, as you know, I wanted more Black women on my team, and I'm unabashedly honest about that. We also love working with women who can support other women through a variety of different careers, and being in HR and talent that you were.
Absolutely.
I knew you could speak the language of a lot of the women who are coming through the workshop and being a part of that. What I love is that you up-leveled yourself. It wasn't well, since I can't do that, I'm going to do this. It was an absolute up-leveling for you and declaring and defining your purpose. And that to me is what filled in the gaps for you as a human being, expressing yourself in the world of contribution, which is really what work is all about. It's like contributing. Here's my natural gifts and talents, and I'm going to contribute at the highest level possible. So we've been rocking it for a year.
Yes.
We've been rocking it for a year. And we've seen many Black women go through our workshop, and some of them have had somewhat tragic stories around their work history. And one of them, who did an interview with me last year, is coming to mind, where she was literally being pushed out from a pretty white dominant company that had just acquired her regional company. And she was being treated so poorly. I literally wanted to like drive to her office and tell people how to do it differently and better. So, and just because people are in positions of authority or running HR or being a VP or whatever, doesn't mean that they have their act together. But it also doesn't mean that you, in those types of roles, ladies, have to be that way. So one of the things I think veers women off the path of being in a higher level role is seeing how horribly it can be done, and actually having experience of, well, I don't want to be a VP because that's who I'd have to become. And that is simply not true. Now, this particular woman I'm talking about, eventually got a severance package instead of either walking out or getting fired. And as you know, she was in the process of basically getting fired. And, because we're great coaches, we've been there and laid the groundwork for not only ourselves, but lots of other women. We know how to help navigate those types of difficult circumstances. We're not attorneys and we didn't, review documents and that sort of thing, but just giving really great coaching, practical experience in those environments really helped her navigate that way in a way that she was not as much of a victim as she was feeling when she first reached out and talked to us on the clarity call and was really looking for a solution. And through the first part of that, and folks, it's mofall.com/life clarity if you would like to talk to one of our career breakthrough strategy coaches and really understand what's really going on and whether we can help you. The commitment that we make about our work is we want to work with women who we know we can help. We don't guess about it. We don't have you sign up for a free workbook and, and try to figure it out yourself. I don't do any of that. If you have a problem with your career and we deem that it's the stuff that we fix, we're going to go to work with you, personally guiding you through our proven formula. And it is work. Make no mistake about it. If you want to change your life and be somewhere you haven't been, you got to pack your bags and drive somewhere you haven't been. Okay. So that's what we do. And we're proud and happy about all of the wonderful success stories. So this particular woman navigated her first 4 weeks differently because she had all that going on.
Yep.
And then she came into her realization of worthiness and ready to do the next step. And by the time she graduated from the workshop, she was named a top up and coming professional woman in her community and in a leadership training program and all that wonderful stuff. And we really, really enjoyed watching her journey and who she became while we were working together, and continue to support her and love on her in our grad group. There are so many other stories we could sit here and talk about forever. What do you think, as a Black woman, Portia, is the main reason why you personally felt held back?
That's a very good question. I think right now we've heard a lot of talk about learning about Black history and anti-racism and all of these wonderful buzzwords. But just 2 years ago, all of that wasn't the popular buzz.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yes.
it's all about education and being open to understand and listen to someone's story that may not look like you, that you may think that you know them, but there's always a deeper level.
Yeah.
So just being open. And I believe for me personally, it was not only was I Black and a woman, I'm also little in stature.
No one
So
would know that from this interview. So thanks.
right. So I had to I in knowing that it takes, I hear a lot of Black women say this, but it takes twice the effort for us to be successful as, a white male, or maybe more.
Yeah.
We're efforting or trying to be bigger in someone else's eyes that are making us or looking at us as smaller or less than.
Yes. And as we know in the work that we do, what's literally happening there is the sense of self is small.
Yes.
And the sense of self is an energetic truth that resonates with other people, and they don't even really know it.
Correct.
If she would just speak up, well, why doesn't she just let me know she's got that great idea? They say from the other side of the equation. And so the energetic reality is you're approaching yourself and your work from a smaller sense of self.
Yep.
You're dealing with people who don't have that sense of smallness in their self. And so, of course, there's this diminutive, natural, energetic mismatch. And so and I hate to use these types of words, but I'm trying to make a point, they are like, why not? Why isn't she this? Why isn't she that? And here a small diminutive sense of self is saying, how come they can't let me in? How come they can't listen? How come they can't take the time?
Right.
So we have this really deep disconnection that most human beings don't even know that that's really the true reason why we have most of our racial issues, because the sense of self collectively is energetically mismatching. And one of our ladies here, and thanks Key for talking about microaggressions that will wear you down. And so that then
example,
unconscious bias activity is wearing that small sense of self down even further. So now it becomes a nub, and there's like no fighting chance. So we can do diversity, inclusion, equality stuff all day long. Totally cool on that. And we need to, because there's enough unconscious bias that we need to really change the narrative out there. It won't fully be changed unless we help people, obviously women and minority women in particular, get a better sense of self, because the education's there, the intellect's there, the experience is there. All right. So with all that expertise, there is something that the world is missing, because that person doesn't feel alive enough or matter enough or worthy enough to be heard. And so when we bring that sense of self back to life, to a higher level, now we're energetically in the same room, if you will. And to me, that's why what we do with the combination of bringing our gals' souls back to life, bringing that worthiness, bringing that confidence, not only can you make better decisions for your career, but you can step into your truth. One of our gals we just had in the workshop, and you'll probably know who this is based on me talking about it, stayed in her same job. And she works for a big agency in the federal government. She's got a pretty darn cool job, and she does cool work. And it's a great career, a great path, and it fits her perfectly for who she is and how she is in the world. And I think she got really into understanding that instead of just wanting to ditch the whole thing. And we got her a place where she felt like she was thriving. She mattered. She actually gave presentations better. She practiced some of that stuff with us. She was more proactive in presenting at her work and handling situations that she saw coming down the road. So she was more proactive instead of being reactive and saying, "Oh, I don't want to talk about that because what if they think I'm too smart or I'm being too boastful?" A lot of the things that hold women back. I don't want to be too boastful that I see something. I'm going to let it crash and burn, and then I'll tiptoe my way into it. No. When you're feeling awesome, you're going to show up in a different way at work. So talk about, I know that your work environment has changed, but just talk about how you're being different in this new career than you were in your old career because of the transformation and the soul growth that you have had in the last year and a half. 2 years in April, 2 years in May. When were you were?
It has been. It was about May timeframe, right? May, April. Yeah. That's weird to say that, but that was around that time. Time flies.
Yeah, sure does.
But yes, definitely learning about how to manage my emotions, how to stand in my power in a way that communicates growth, power, without being angry Black woman.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. You know it more than I do, having grown up with some of those belief systems of fear about, I don't want to be that.
I don't want to be an angry Black woman.
Right.
And so holding that back.
Power if I don't get it from that.
Correct.
Right.
So learning how.
Where do you get your power now, Portia?
Learning how to go within and get my power from, again, my spirituality, my divinity, how to manage that, how to keep balance in my work life and personal life, and making sure that I'm in balance so that there aren't peaks and valleys of, emotional peaks and valleys. When I'm in a conversation with someone. Managing those emotions was very key for me, and learning how to do that was what I learned from the 12 weeks of the program, and that I still use now, definitely now as a coach.
Yes.
So that was very key. It was something that I don't think was taught to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
ever. Ever. I was never like there's actually something out here that can help manage my emotions.
Right.
What is that?
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so that was life changing, and can
Mm-hmm.
be definitely life changing for other Black women who may feel that their power is too much,
Yes.
or they're quiet because they want to be small so that they can
Yes.
fit in
Yes.
a certain box.
Yes. We've had a few Black women in our workshop who have been very large stature wise.
Mhm.
And I think in many ways their story was amplified as to not wanting to be the angry Black woman because they actually had physical
Yeah.
stature, different than your story, which you're dealing with a smaller physical stature, but they're towering over a lot of people.
Kind of same
And
thing.
we've also had other tall women, but in
Yep.
particular, I'm thinking about a few of our Black women who have been like just taller and bigger
Yeah.
than a lot of people in their workplace.
Yeah.
And that creates that other necessary, like, I better downplay
Down.
myself
Hmm.
so that I don't come across in a certain
Way.
negative way and overshadow people. And so the interesting thing is when we are trying to be someone not authentic, not true
Correct.
to ourselves,
Mm.
it is misalignment all over the place,
All
and
over the
we're going
place.
to get negative feedback on it
Mhm.
because we're being negative to our soul. And this to me is one of the great misunderstandings that human beings have. Well, that's what they expect of me, so I'm going to be this way. When we do a disservice to our soul, we are invoking negative experiences in the world because we are denying our divinity. And no matter what color you are, folks, if you deny your truth, you're going to have more troubles in the world. Now, when you take on a growth and expansion journey and you're committed to being a better, higher version of you and moving towards your divinity, you're going to have challenges, of course. But when you're denying that, the challenges are going to be harsh. And they get harsher until you listen. And you had sort of a not non-event, Portia, because I know you were going through something when your company was reorganizing and you felt the threat of losing your job. But it could have gone down in many different ways, or you could have quit amidst the uncertainty and lost the
Yeah.
severance package.
Correct.
Okay.
Hmm.
So all of these things sort of play into a basic universal truth that I really want to kind of wrap up for everyone here listening. When you deny the truth of who you are, you will have more problems in your world. And when you choose to pick up your divinity and bring your soul to life, the challenges and the problems you have become obvious why they're there. They become growth inspiring rather than wearing you down. They become truth oriented for you. And you get the opportunity of shining brighter because of them rather than being torn down. And Key, if we haven't had a clarity call with you, you're still with us, I'd love you to book a clarity call with us and see if we can help you out. It's mofall.com/live clarity. And it's just a shout out and a hello to Jewel. Jewel's one of our beautiful, wonderful grads. And Jewel, you're looking better than ever on that Facebook profile look. And so let's talk about that truth, that universal truth, Portia. When we declare our divinity, how different does life look?
Ooh, it is completely different. It's a whole new world. It is a breath of fresh air. It's a sigh of relief.
Oh, yeah.
That weight that's been on literally on your shoulders
Yeah.
goes away.
Ooh, the burden that has been sitting on your shoulders because your soul knows that you're not in the right lane yet.
Correct.
And so the heaviness of knowing that truth is really not sustainable.
Mm-mm.
And I had a breast cancer wake-up call. Many of our clients have had breast cancer, high blood pressure, a mental health breakdown, sometimes car accidents and things like that. About
Strokes, heart
wake
conditions.
up, wake up.
Yeah.
So you mentioned at the beginning of the call that, or in our conversation so far today, that 2 years ago, the conversation was different in the country, in the world, because so much of the world saw our United States crumbling around continued race problems, or eroding a bit to come to life again at a higher level. When we wake up as a country, as a world, and we now have a greater responsibility, a greater response ability, we now can step into that truth, and it's more open to us. Nice to see you too, Joel. So when that response is able to be fully expressed and the environment is more acceptable to that response,
Yes.
we now have fertile ground to grow in. And
Yes.
I believe that no matter who you are on this planet, the ground is a lot more fertile for personal, soulful growth and divine expression than ever. As a Black woman, and as we express the history of the trials, tribulations, and wrongdoings, perhaps we could say that, that the Blacks in the United States have gone through, and their history shows much of it. What do you see as the future of a
Very
divine
good question.
expressed Black
Yes.
woman, and then just kind of in general for Black people in this country? Black.
Absolutely. Well, I see hope. I see true hope. I'm starting to see more. I've heard comments from like my mom, who grew up in the 50s and 60s, and she
Yeah.
says, I'm starting to see more Black people on TV. And I thought,
Yeah.
huh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That she would even say that.
Yes.
I'm starting to see more Black women that look like me in leadership positions on LinkedIn when I'm cruising through.
Yes.
So I'm starting to see what we as African American professional women have been, wanting and hoping for I'd say the past 20 something years,
Yeah.
which is we're starting to see movement forward.
Right. Right.
And any step forward, I don't care if it's a baby step, that is growth and a hope and opportunity.
Yes.
So we, keep on making the baby steps, keep on trucking along.
Right.
I'm starting to see people being more open to listening and to telling their stories and to standing in their power. I'm starting to see more people that don't look like me asking, how can we help?
Right.
So again, more growth.
Yes.
Heading in the right direction, heading forward in the forward movement.
Yes.
Do we still have a long ways to go? Yeah, we do. However, this is a prime example. Black History Month is February, the shortest month of the year. However, what I'm starting to see is, I'm starting to see like it's Black History Month all year long.
Yes.
People are starting to educate themselves on our history. I'm still learning about our history. I watched things the other day that was like, oh, I didn't know that. So it's a growth process for everyone, and I'm seeing hope.
Yes. Awesome. How about the world that your sons are maturing to? Because I know you've got two sons in their 20s.
I do have two sons that are young adults that were paying close attention to the most recent current events of the world. And it is amazing to me how they perceive things differently from me as a woman, a Black woman. So I am hopeful that the world that they are moving into is going to be a wonderful world where they don't have any limitations.
Yes.
Where people see them for people and not just a Black young man. That they're just a human being, just like everyone else.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And in the world of moving toward equality, not feeling separate or that there are separations in the world must be a really exciting scenario for them, for you. I mean, for all human beings on this planet, as we keep evolving as a human species, we keep breaking down barriers, we keep breaking
Yes.
down untruths.
Yes.
And this past year has been one of the biggest untruth barrier breaking years ever. We've been thrown into a calamity scenario like
Hmm.
we've never experienced as human beings. So it's really shaken everything up.
Yes.
And because of how so connected we are on social media, etc., that nothing gets missed or nothing gets untold that is available for someone to experience. And
Yes.
some people may consider that to be negative or too much stimulation or whatever, but the truth is we are revealing things about our human experience that have never been revealed before. And for that
Absolutely.
reason, we're shedding light on it. And for that
Yes.
reason, truth will prevail, love will prevail, and a better human expression will prevail. And
Absolutely.
that's what we're all about in Team Coach Mo. And that's what we're all about for our women who work with us. The women who work with us get to be part of a really, really great, awesome sisterhood. And you are one of our wonderful coaches who helps support that long term sisterhood as well. And you get to see those gals continuing to excel at being themselves and excel in their lives, buying cars, getting engaged, new homes, new jobs, new opportunities, promotions. And sometimes they fall into another challenge, but
Mhm.
they have all the tools they need to
Yes.
step forward and step out of it and all the support they need in a very positive way. So that feels really, really great for all of that to be available to our gals. It's a very unique sisterhood that we have
It
created.
is.
And I'm glad that you're in it, not only as a grad, Portia, but also as one of our wonderful supporters and experts on our coaching team, because we're all about doing more good work in the world and helping elevate souls and really changing the trajectory of families, of
Yes.
futures, of
Yes.
generations.
Yes.
And how many women have said that to us? We just experienced last week, one of our grads helped her daughter navigate a offer on a new job and not just accept whatever was offered to her.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and she's able to share the tools and build a confidence level in her young daughter
Mhm.
that she never got that. So it's just the ladder just keeps adding rungs of generations, and it's just really a fantastic evolution to watch.
Mhm.
I guess the Black History Month all year long resonated with someone, but we can't see your name, so that's okay. Really, really great to hear all the comments and get all the comments today. Portia, if there's a
Yes.
woman out there who was
Mm.
exactly where you were at a year and a half, 2 years ago, hanging out, feeling desperate, feeling stuck, what would you say to her?
I'd say make a clarity call quick and in a hurry.
Looking in her,
Because we can be that lifesaver for you. You do not have to do this alone. We are here to help you navigate those waters.
yes, and also help you not make a mistake along the way. If you're stuck and in fear, your chances of making a mistake are pretty high.
Yeah.
And we really want to help you avoid that. And
Yes.
we've shared a few stories, not only yours, Portia, but a couple of other gals who are on my heart as we are talking about this,
Mhm.
who've really navigated landmines and
Yeah.
minefields that they were in a
Yeah.
much better way. And 12 weeks, we can do a lot in that short period of time. So, ladies, we'd love to talk with you at mofall.com/live clarity so that you can book your complimentary career clarity call and see if we can help you. We're going to break it apart and see what's going on in your career and really help you see your truth.
Mhm.
And if we can help you, we'll talk about what that looks like. It's not always the case. Sometimes there's another solution, or perhaps you're not really ready, or maybe the other pieces aren't really in the right place for you to get going. Either way, we're going to serve you into your truth and clarity. So, Portia, thanks so much. I'm looking forward to working with you this week and get
Yes.
rocking and rolling for our clients and continuing to have our beautiful path woven together and watching you continue to be your divine expression, serve our gals, and leverage and utilize the experience that you bring to the table, which is so, so helpful to these women that we work with every single day.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Love
for
it.
joining. And all of our Black women and men who follow this, may you continue to see the beauty in your soul and in yourself and in your journey. And let's keep making human beings better.
Absolutely.
Rock on. Thanks for joining me, Portia. Folks,
Thank you.
all right. It's mofall.com everywhere on the social media platforms and on the internet. We'll see you next time.
Bye.